Hello, and welcome to another episode of Bergenstages Television, our entertainment magazine here at Bergen Community College. I am Jim Bumgardner, your host, and today we have a different kind of show for you. Normally we talk to our actors and chat about their lives and then talk about the upcoming show, but this one's going to be a little bit different. We're going to chat with our actors, but we're going to talk about a show that we've just finished. So it's more of a retrospect on our production of The Crucible. So please join me in welcoming to the show Yuriana Botero. Welcome. Ethan Vanel, Maya Banks, and Mike Ravito. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
How are you doing? Long time no see.
I know.
Yeah.
So wow.
Have you gotten a little rest?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Oh, good. Catching up on
Got
everything.
a lot of rest.
Yeah, catching up on homework. And,
Good.
So we're going to talk about the show in just a minute, but I'd like to kind of go down and talk to you about how we got you here at Bergen, what's your background, what have you other shows you've done. So Mike, why don't we talk with you? You're our leading character, playing John Proctor in our production.
So you want to know how I got here?
How did you get to Bergen?
Okay. I came here after my senior year of high school, and I've just been here since then. I did take a year off way back when, but you know,
Did you do shows in high school?
I did one show. It was 12th Night by Shakespeare. I played a sea captain. Everybody thought I was really good in it, and I wasn't really trying that hard. So I thought, hey, maybe I should take up acting. You know, I did a little in high school, you know. So, but I've done a ton of shows at Bergen.
What have you done?
Let's see. I've done Enemy of the People, Hamlet, Guys and Dolls.
12 Angry Jurors.
Yes, 12 Angry Jurors. Let's see what else. Fahrenheit 451, Once Upon a Mattress. I just did Crucible, which was my first lead role, which I'm really excited about.
That's good.
Yeah.
Maya, how are we so lucky to get Maya Banks here at Bergen Community College?
I just graduated high school this June, and I was asked by my father to stay home to like help out with the family or whatever, and he thought it would be great for me to grow into my adulthood with him. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll go to Bergen. So yeah, that's pretty much how I ended up here. Crucible was my first show. Cool. So when
And where did you go to high school?
I went to Northern Valley Demorest starting my sophomore year.
Oh, cool.
I moved to New Jersey my sophomore year, so I went to another school in New York before that.
And what did you do shows while you were in high school?
In high school, yeah. I did Peter and the Starcatcher. I was Captain Scott. I did Legally Blonde. I was the judge. I did The Addams Family. And there was another show, but I was like running crew for that, which was really fun.
So you've worked on stage and backstage,
Yeah.
so that's cool. Ethan, I should say welcome back to Ethan because you were here for a Christmas pudding.
Yeah, that was almost a full year ago now, though.
Wow,
It's weird.
how time flies.
Yeah.
How time flies.
As far as coming to Bergen, I came here straight out of high school after my senior year. My sister had gone through here before, and she told me that the theater program here was pretty good. Coming out of high school, I was a little unsure if I wanted to do theater at school, but I decided that I wanted to once I came here and saw everything, and I was lucky enough to have a really good first year. I got to be in Christmas Pudding, and then straight into Jurors, and then straight into Scapan, and then I got to direct. So it was an eventful first year, but it was really fun.
Overwhelming.
Yeah.
Cool. And you were more in sports in high school than you were, is that right? Or did you do theater in high school?
I did theater in high school. I pretty quickly switched. I went into high school wrestling,
That's what
and then I kind of fell out of that and kind of just fully fell into theater as the years went on.
Yuriana.
Hi.
Hi.
I actually graduated with Ethan at Dumont High School, which was nice. But I took a gap year because I needed the money.
Sure.
That's how you got to get the money for school. Otherwise, you can't get to school.
Good for you.
That's the big thing. But I actually did theater. When I was younger, I really wanted to be an actress. But then I slowly realized I was like, that seems a little daunting. So I settled with doing, in high school, I did a couple of shows there. I think I did every show there? I can't remember.
Wow.
Yeah, I did all the shows, like all the straight plays, all the musicals.
Which shows were they? What do you remember names?
Right, it was, one of my favorites was You Can't Take It With You. That was one of my favorite straight plays we did. We got to be married in that. We were married in that. That was so fun. And then we did Little Mermaid. I got to be Flounder in that one. I did a lot of roles like that, like lots of funny little roles like that. So it's nice to kind of get to college and do some very different things. I get to, because I've always really liked dramatic pieces and doing dramatic plays and things like that, because I feel like you can really tap into a different part of you and figure out a lot about yourself through that.
Cool.
So yeah.
As opposed to comedy, you find
Yeah.
that there's something more of a
Yeah, I like doing both, but definitely I feel I thrive in doing dramatic pieces.
Are all four of you theater majors?
No, I'm actually an art major.
Art major, cool.
Yes.
Visual arts or graphic design?
Like illustration, stuff like that, fine arts. So I want to be a children's book illustrator one day.
Oh, cool, awesome. Awesome, I love that. But theater major, your AFA theater and AFA theater, awesome, good.
The odd one out.
That's okay, we'll keep you. And that's the beauty of Bergen is that you don't have to be a theater major to be in our production.
Yes, I was so nervous about that. I wasn't sure when I got here. I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's just not restricted to theater majors, so it's kind of open to everyone, which is great, and it lets everybody kind of know what other people are doing here at the college, as opposed to just, we know the theater department, we're in classes together all the time, so we see each other all the time.
And get to meet a bunch of new people.
That's it too. So Mike, just to kind of let our audience know, what kind of classes have you taken at Bergen for theater?
For theater, I've taken a bunch of classes. See, I started with basic acting technique. When I went into that, which is what really made me want to do theater.
Oh, cool.
Because it was just so much fun getting up there, improvising, you know. I did mostly comedic improv in that. I've taken stage makeup.
Right, and all of you are taking, well, you don't have to, but you can if you want to.
Yeah.
But you're taking it now.
I'm in stage makeup right now.
And
yeah.
you haven't taken
Next semester.
Oh, cool. Great. Which, you know, a lot of people think that the actors get people to put makeup on for them in the shows, but even on Broadway, the actors do their own makeup, so it's a good thing to know. Yeah. Are you having fun in makeup this semester?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We're doing a lot with like the scarring and the deformation, and it's a lot of fun learning from Erin. She's very good with it. She'll just like spend 10 minutes and come back to us and be like, look at this, and we'll be like, oh, that's gross.
Whenever I hear about your classes, I always get so jealous.
And I think it's art, right? I think we can make it happen because you can take it as an art class.
I'm being persuaded.
Good. Add on to what Mike was talking about, other classes that you've taken. You're taking basic acting?
I am taking that next semester.
Cool,
I
cool.
signed up really, really late for most of my classes this semester when I first came. So the only theater class I'm taking right now is Theater 101 with
Intro to
Glee,
Theater, which is great. Good.
I love the class though. I'm learning so much.
Good gen ed
So,
background,
yeah.
and that's cool.
So
That's
next
great.
semester I'm taking like 5 arts classes. Is it not? Like it's insane.
Nice. It's like a
Gotta make sure to sign up.
conservatory around here. Yeah. Ethan, what else have you?
Yeah, I've been like speed running the theater classes and avoiding my gen eds like the plague for some
Don't
reason.
avoid the
I
gen
took-
eds.
Yeah, I know. I took my first semester. I took basic acting with Dr. Janitis, and then at the same time I took stagecraft with Dr. O'Neill. So that was fun. Those were like my only 2 classes that first semester.
Cool.
And then
Which
I
is a
took,
great start to just kind of get the foundation.
Yeah, and then I took intro with you in the spring.
The Theater 101 that
And
Maya is
then
taking.
the graduation process of the prerequisites of the acting classes, that's been really fun, like going through those.
And then we've added a new course. Sorry, we'll get to your art courses, I promise. We added a new course for acting for the camera, and 2 of you are
Right.
doing that with Dr. O'Neill this semester. Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of because a lot of you might want to get into film and television and that sort of work. So it's a different world, though.
It's an adjustment.
Totally is an adjustment.
I keep going out of frame, being theatrical, and Tom's like, stop.
Your gestures are way too big. Bring it down. So what kind of art classes does an art major take?
Currently, I'm only just taking 2 classes because I wanted to get started easy on myself. And regardless, with only 2 classes, I'm still very busy. But I'm taking one gen ed class, which is my writing class, and then my art class, which is my, I think it's figure drawing class. So it's life drawing drawing. We have models come in and we get to draw them in different mediums and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun because that's one of my favorite things to do.
And it's drawing or is it painting? Is it?
It's drawing. So it's like we use charcoal and we also use ink. So currently I have to do a self-portrait of myself, which that's been difficult actually.
Looking in the mirror and then
I know, it's like, I have no idea what I look like. But yeah, and then a couple other ones I know I'm gonna have to do is definitely like intro to art and everything like that. But the one that I'm really excited for is illustration because I want to go into illustration. I love character designing and creating like little characters and stuff like that. That's my favorite thing to do.
Oh, that's cool.
I used to draw my friends all the time. I drew Ethan before, I think, and he had his profile picture on Instagram for a while.
Nice.
He took it down though. So he changed it.
Wow.
But we do have an outstanding art program here.
Yes,
so it's great
yes.
to work with
Yeah,
different faculty.
I
and
love
the
my
different-
teacher. The students are really fun to talk to, and everyone's so nice. I was really nervous because sometimes you hear that art majors could definitely be a little pretentious. So I was like, I don't know. I'm so scared.
Well, they're in their own world where, theater people have to work together. It's, it's about this machine to make it happen. But artists are kind of, this is my world and me doing this thing and me with the canvas or the sketch pad.
So it's so nice to see so many different people from so many different backgrounds and like such like open minds and open for a lot of things and try new things. So it's been a lot of fun and very creative.
Cool. So, great. Thanks, guys. I just kind of wanted to let them know a little bit about you, but we got through Crucible. Yeah. So let's, before we get into it, let's talk about the audition process for the show. What did you do? What didn't you do? What surprised you at the audition? Was there any, whoever wants to take that
Yeah,
one?
I think for the audition process, we were given, pieces of paper from some of the different
Sides
Yeah.
from the play, great.
Yeah, that we kind of had to look over. We would have time to look them over, and then we would go in whenever they called us in. So like for the big scenes, it would be like a bunch of different people. I don't know if I'm missing anything from that.
Anything else at that? So you got aside from the script and you were put up with different people to do
Well, I would say a few weeks before the audition, I read the play. It was hard to understand, so I watched the movie then.
Good for you. Did you find that helps?
I do, yeah. I find it's a major advantage.
Did you guys take the time to, or did you already know the story? A lot of you read it in school.
I remember I found out about the audition day of.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, you know what? Why not? Yeah, I'll come. Yeah, I'll go. Why not? So I was a little nervous because I didn't know anybody other than Ethan, I think, at that time. So.
But did you read the script ahead of, or did you know the story already?
So I had, when they said it was the Crucible, because I found out about it about a week before, I realized that I had watched the movie, like maybe during the summer with my friend when I had gone to her house to stay. So I was like, okay, like I kind of get the principle of it.
Cool.
And I remember reading it in high school.
Okay.
So
it
I
comes
was
back to you.
right.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I know there's this character Abigail, I know there's John, and I kind of know like the workarounds of like what everyone else kind of does. And I was like, okay, cool, like of course I'll do it. It was my first cold read audition. And I remember this, like I had work the first audition day and I couldn't come at all. And then the second day I had work, but it ended at like an hour before like the last time you can come. So I'm racing through the roads trying to get to the auditions. I'm like, I have to go, I have to audition. It's like, I have to. So I finally get there, I run in and I'm like, am I late? And they're like, no, like sign in. I sign up, they give me a side and they're like, go. And I was like, okay. So I didn't get to read it, I didn't get to anything. And I'm sitting down and I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my God, this is
That's a very
insane.
cold reading, yeah.
It was the coldest read I've ever done and it was the first one, it was insane.
I mean, fortunately, we don't do monologues here as a rule
Yeah.
for auditions. I think it makes it a little easier to audition just with the side there. But Ethan, do you recommend reading the script ahead of time?
I normally would, getting some context. For Crucible, I didn't.
But you knew the story.
Yeah, I had studied it in high school, and I had remembered it pretty well.
Cool.
I didn't remember all the characters and stuff, so when I went into the audition, I didn't have like a very clear idea of who I was signing up to be. I just remembered that I was like, oh, Hale was a cool character.
I like that name.
Maybe I'll just so I put him as my my wanted character thing.
Cool. So did you know you wanted to do John Proctor, or you just came into Mike to do anything?
It's a very interesting story, actually. I was feeling, I hadn't acted in a while, so I was a little bit in like actor's withdrawal. I was like, man, I got to do a show. So I thought I was going to get like Dan first or one of the evil roles.
Right, the darker ones. Yeah,
because
yeah.
I tend to get more evil roles, but you know, I do believe in the character John Proctor, so I said, you know, I'll do Dan for Proctor, really whatever you want.
So
me
you
to
listed
do.
a couple that did.
Yes, but he only had me read for Proctor.
Oh, cool.
And at the end of the audition, he said to me, "Okay, now if I cast you as Proctor, what would you think about that?" And I said, "I think it would be a great change for me, you know." And then I got Proctor.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll come back to talk about the roles that you auditioned for and if you got what you wanted. So thank you, guys. Come back. We're going to talk more about the Crucible and about some of our experiences that happened backstage and during the show.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Welcome back to Bergenstages Television. Today we're doing The Crucible, a retrospect, and I've got 4 wonderful guests with us today. Yuriana Botero, Ethan Bennell, Maya Banks, and Mike Rovito. Thank you guys for sharing so much about your backstories. And we, before the break, we talked to Mike about auditioning for the role of John Proctor, which was an outstanding role. But I didn't get from you. Maya, did you actually audition for Abigail or just anything?
I put any. I actually was probably just gonna, went in with like, okay, I'll get one of the girls. Because I knew my audition wasn't that great coming in with 2 seconds to spare. But so I was like, yeah, I'll just be one of the girls, I'll have fun. And then I did not get one of the girls, so.
Well, you kind of did, but she's
Well, yeah.
one of the girls. And you, Ethan, you were talking about Hale. Did you know that that's who you wanted?
Kind of. I had no remembrance of like what he was to the plot. I knew it was like, oh, is he like the witch hunter? That sounds cool.
The witch hunter.
I'll put that down. I had no idea until I got my script that was like, oh my god, I've been highlighting for
Another highlighter.
45 minutes. Yeah.
You're like,
But I ended up really enjoying it because I also didn't think that my audition was all that great.
Neither did I.
Because
You're
that
our
was the first
harshest-
audition of
harshest
the year.
critic.
I had not done any work since last spring, so it was kind of coming back in and being like, oh, I hope I'm still okay.
Yeah, I think I still got it in.
Yeah, because I read for Proctor,
Oh, you did.
and then I read for Corey, and then I read for Hale, and I was like, I have no idea what he's
I don't know what we're
thinking
going for
me.
here.
But you played Reverend Hale.
I did
and
get it,
Yuriana, you got to play Mary Warren.
Yes.
The rival over here, but yeah.
I had a lot of fun playing Mary Warren. It was very hard, to be honest, because there was a lot of crying and screaming, but it was a nice change in what I've done in the past.
Sorry, before you get to did you
Yeah.
actually audition for Mary Warren? Or were
I
you just
actually
kinda
auditioned for Abigail specifically
uh-huh.
because I remember when we read The Crucible, I loved Abigail. I mean, obviously she isn't like the best person ever, but I understood her story. I understood her story. It's like, you know what? She did nothing wrong. I understand what she did. And so I was like, you know, this is the one person I really remember, and I remember connecting with her story. So I read for her a few times, and then he had me read for somebody else. I don't remember who. I think it was like Nurse or something. But yeah, I did read for Abigail once, I believe. And I was like, I knocked that out of the park. But I was just excited to be a part of anything. It's not like you took my role or anything like that. That was the one person I remembered that I was like, you know what, that'd be really cool if I was able to play her. But I think the character that I ended up getting, I think that one really suits my style of acting better. So I think it ended up working out.
Oh, I do too. I think, you know, to preface this, I think you guys were just outstanding. And I know I'm biased from directing the show, but also I think you were cast perfectly. I think the roles were awesome. I think I once said, would you do anything different? And I said, no, I think this is just the perfect cast, the way you guys did it. So congratulations on that. And I'm hearing that constantly in the hallways still. People are stopping me saying how much they really, really enjoyed the show.
Aww.
Actually, Dr. Friedman, the president of the college, has stopped me on several occasions.
No way.
Loving the
So
show,
cool.
talking
I
about
love that.
the
I forgot
cathartic
I saw it.
experience
Yeah.
of seeing this show. And then especially talks about Mike Ravito, and he's like, oh, well, where'd you get him? I said, he's a student. So I think that's just kind of cool. Just know that
Yeah.
I'm not talking just because of our connection with each other, but also the fact that people are seeing what we all feel. So talking about the show itself and playing these particular characters, I'm going to start with, let me talk with you, Mike, talking about John Proctor. What did you find out about him through this process of this character and playing this character? What was a challenge or any of those kind of things?
Well, I'll tell you, when I first got the role, I was excited, but then I quickly switched over to, can I play this role? Because first off, it wasn't entirely a villain role. It was a more moral side to a character, you know?
Which is, and I'll hold you on that, which is interesting about this story is that it starts up at here. It starts at this level. You've already had this little tryst between the two of you. There's the witchcraft has already happened, and there's a girl passed out on the bed. You know, so you're starting at a very high level of a show where others kind of build to this doesn't let's starts there. It's like I don't know what the heck's going on here. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So we already have to know that this affair tryst has happened between Abigail and John Proctor, making him not, as a hero goes, he's not the purest of heroes. He's like, he's faulty. He's a faulty hero. Yeah.
But I feel emotionally connecting to the character. I didn't have to do very much in terms of getting angry because I've done that so many times before with roles. So, you know, I think the challenge was, even though it was my favorite scene to play, it was the final scene, which is very sad because he's about to be hung for something he really didn't, you know, do. He didn't do anything. And they know he didn't do anything, but I had to sort of go in the back and get myself upset. I had to do that every night, and it was challenging. But, you know, Ray Parente, the assistant director, can't thank him enough in case you're watching this. He was just a personal cheerleader through this, as you were, Jim. Yeah, and yeah, that's all I really.
And it is finding that when to be angry, when to be gentle, when to be loving. Abigail, you go through, I could say Abigail, Maya, went through a lot of changes in her.
Yeah, I loved Abigail. I loved the whole experience. I got the script and I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my goodness, like Abigail's insane. But it was in a way where it was like she just goes through so much. Like in the beginning of the story, she's like scared, and then she goes to like threatening the girls, and then she's like, oh, but Proctor, like, love me, and then it's like, well, forget you. And then it's like, then the court scene, she's like, it's like, it was a lot.
But she doesn't give up, does she? She
never
does
gives
want
up.
him,
Yeah.
and will do anything she can to get Elizabeth out of the way, and so she's plotting.
perseverant.
Yeah. And I'm going to come back to Ethan. I'm going to jump to Yuri because there's a relationship between the two girls, and it's not a mean girls thing because you want to think it's a mean girls, but she does give in at the courtroom scene.
I think definitely Mary and Abigail have a relationship that I feel like a lot of young girls can relate to. A lot of young girls have had relationships where there is this love that you have between each other, but it's toxic. Like it is something that you can't really recreate or really fully explain to an extent. But it's there that you are by each other's sides, even if you're constantly like bickering or constantly putting one down or anything like that. I think Mary the entire time in this show is very pathetic, and I really do feel bad for her because, you know, although at the very end she does end up betraying everything and giving in to Abigail's whole scheme, you can see why she does this. And although some people might find it annoying, I really feel for her because she is the entire time being put down by everybody.
And she has to live in this village.
Exactly.
You know, whatever happens, she's got to live with whatever happens here this day. So it's kind of an
Exactly.
interesting thing that I agree. And I think there's a love we have for our characters, isn't there? You know,
Yeah.
no matter what their faults are, you still find
I'm
this
like,
love. That makes it easier to play
I'm
them.
like, I could have
Constantly.
raised Mary. She could have been my kid.
Sometimes in the green room, we'll all like talk about our characters, and like I'll just be defending the heck out of Abigail. I'm like, you don't understand. She was taken advantage of. Proctor was so old.
And you cannot play it if you don't have that. I think
Yeah.
as an actor, you've got to have this sympathy and connection with them. So let me get to Ethan, because your character kind of goes through a big arc through this
Right.
whole thing. The witch hunter comes in.
Yeah, so Hale was probably by far, I'd say, the most daunting role I've ever had to work with. Both, like you said, because he's dynamic, I need to show an arc. From the beginning when I come in and I'm hunting the devil and I'm driving the devil out of this household and saving these people. And then I'm like on my knees in the last scene begging this woman to go like beg to not have this man hanged
Yeah,
because I've messed up so bad and I can't live with myself because of it. It was a really interesting thing to have to play with and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
try and show, because even when I'm not talking, I still need to be reacting to everything that, like, you made me so mad all the time.
And the look that you gave me
Oh
in the
my
courtroom
goodness.
scene, I'll never
How
forget
could you
it.
do that? Yeah.
Exactly.
There were, and unfortunately, unfortunately, I had got up to play with you guys.
Yeah, my goodness.
But it was really interesting watching your eye contact with each other. That was just when I could get my head out of the script, just looking at you guys and just the connections you guys were making on stage was very powerful. And it wasn't you. These were these characters that I could see up there.
That was the other hard thing about Hale is, like, as I was learning my lines and getting it on its feet, I figured out that he really does have to have a power. And I have to go up to like great actors like Mark and Mike and stand up to them and say things that need to sway them, because like you gave us the direction when I come in the first scene. It's like, oh, Brad Pitt just walked in. Oh, geez, okay. I need to convey that. That's very like outside of myself to try and put on that what I say carries so much weight, and that I need to really think about that in my deliveries.
Cool. Yeah. And the language, I think, Mike, you kind of addressed it. The language is kind of clunky in the beginning.
Yes.
But once you get it, you get it. It's just finding that rhythm of it.
Yeah.
There was a point where I'd be so engulfed in the script that I would leave rehearsals and like start talking to people in this like, and I would like in the morning I would
Yes,
walk
I
up to
know
people
exactly
and
what
I'd
you
be like,
mean.
"How art thou?" And it's like the day is nigh. Like it was so like it was
Be gone with
insane.
ye.
Like I can't.
Which is great. I mean, we do that with Shakespeare so easily, but that's, we kind of expect that, but we suddenly get this play written by Arthur Miller in
Right.
the 50s,
Yeah.
but about 1692 Salem, and we're just going, how do we make it real? And I think you have to...
The language was a real obstacle in both with just hindering the memorization process, and then when you're in the moment and things are like overlapping and we're yelling at each other, and it's like, oh,
when
I can't say that.
But when
because
we did get
that's
it,
not-
it
yeah,
was
it really
so
worked.
good. So
And
good.
you could
Oh my
feel it,
goodness,
couldn't
you
you?
could
So-
feel it.
Yeah, when it was
There's
just
like
all...
there's a certain chemistry that we had like on stage. I think between all of us, like I don't know what it was, but like when we got it, it was just like it was like serious catharsis. Like
The
it was
courtroom
so
scene
good.
was exhausting. But when we had it,
It was so good,
was
and you can
electric.
tell.
You could tell.
You
when it
could
was
tell.
good.
We would walk off stage, and there would be like this like
We'd be like,
we'd be dying, but it was like this good like.
Totally exhausted. Totally
Feeling.
exhausted about it.
yeah.
So what would be the would you take away stuff from this show that you're going to bring to your next show? Is there any things that you learned that you'll take with you?
Definitely using the feelings that you have during the show to use it in the show.
Cool. Cool. Ethan, anything you learned?
This show, I think, particularly showed me the importance of trying to be in the moment and letting things be organic, and to trust yourself, to let yourself be in the moment, and trust that the line will be there when you need it, and to just let yourself react.
Good.
This was one of my first bigger roles, and I definitely think I'll take like feeling for my character. Like I've never embodied a character so much as I have with Abigail. Like I either really felt for her or I felt like I was her. So it was like,
Cool. So take that with you. Mike, what would you take?
Well, the emotionality of John Proctor is, just very up and down and very up and down. So I would say what I take from this role is bring the energy to the next show. I don't know if there'll be as much energy I have to use in the next show.
But you've got it there, and you know you have it.
Yeah,
back
so,
pocket.
use it all and, save as much as I can, I guess, really.
Well, guys, I can't believe we're at the end of the show, but congratulations again on a wonderful run of the Crucible. And thank you for coming on the show today, just kind of talk about it.
It's so nice being
Good.
here.
Juliana, Ethan, Maya, and Mike, thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you watching our retrospect to the Crucible, and come back to Bergenstages and see us show this season. Thank you.